This is Oilersnation Radio, your one-stop shop for everything Oilers. 1 hour of straight hockey talk with Baggedmilk, Tyler, Liam, Rick, and Dan starts now.
Rick, you weren't here on Tuesday.
It's true.
So we decided that Liam might start throwing some things in the intro.
Into the intro.
And see if Tyler notices.
Oh, I think we should do this.
Didn't do it today.
That's fine.
Forgot. Ironically.
But you know what? The plan is in motion.
Yeah.
So we're just going to have it done.
Not say a word.
Not say a word.
See if he pays attention.
Hit the button.
Yep.
Are we going to keep a tally, or is he going to find out the first day?
Because
that's going to be on everyone here to keep a straight face and keep it tight.
I bet if I was putting a bet down, I bet he doesn't notice for a month.
Well, it depends. How are you going to go with 10 out of 10 noticeable? Or are you going to try and sneak it in 1 out of 10 noticeable? If it's between 1 and 5, he's not catching on to any of it.
You should just add computer noises to it.
Well, I think... Oh, that's a good one.
So
old ones when you...
Yeah, the dial-up tone.
Oh, just a quarter of a second of dial-up at the very beginning.
Random parts of it. Yeah.
I think I'm going to have to make it subtle.
It has to be subtle.
And gradually build up to a point of he has to know.
It has to slap him in
Maybe
the
I'll
face.
just make a new intro at some point.
Or there's another angle how long does he take to notice that changes are being made? And how many can we get in there before he goes, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right.
Well, I like the fact Liam's in charge here because I think he will try pretty hard to...
Outside of today.
I had a busy week. Tyler's not been here.
He'll try pretty hard to trick him for the first couple. And then if it gets a little monotonous, if we keep going 4 weeks in a row without nobody noticing, then he might put in something a little more... the old Jones barbecue foot massage in the middle somehow.
But I do have a question.
Okay.
Are we going to be addressing him and asking him if he's added something to the intro?
I think that's part of a funny bit.
Okay. Because
Because the answer will always be no.
Right.
Yeah. So me and my friends used to go... Well, we try to still, but go on these Labor Day trips. And I would make a CD for the road trip because we would always go to Calgary. And
you'd burn a CD?
I would.
Man, that's a throwback.
It was awesome.
I miss burning CDs.
There was, but I would add to the songs. So the song "Girls Just Want to Have Fun." Mm-hmm. I just chipped in "boys" every time she said "girls," and it was just "boys," and then it was "want to have fun." And I remember one year I was just playing with all the effects on audition. And at one point I was like, yeah, we increased the budget this year. And then as I was saying it, I put a water feature over it. So it sounded like I was underwater. It was awesome. It was so funny. One of my friends that just still listens to it to this day. It's 8 years old.
That's awesome.
It reminds me of a bit that Garner Andrews used to do on Sonic where he would play songs, but he would replace the word girl with squirrel. Squirrels just want to have fun, which they do.
I don't see why not.
Right?
Yeah, I think so.
He doesn't do the morning show anymore, does he?
I honestly don't listen to radio.
None of that time anymore. Oh, no, he looks like he does.
Yeah, because our boy Taylor's his co-host now. I should have known that.
Oh, there you go.
Big Nation guy, Taylor.
I dig it.
Shout out to
That's
Taylor.
good.
Time for a delicious debate. For our friends at Odd Company, we're proud to partner with Odd Company Brewing to bring you the Nation Beer Everyday Lager. Perfect for the next big game, like tomorrow, Canada, USA, or just your next go-to lager. Find it at Odd Company at either of their locations or at liquorconnect.com. Get your Nation Beer Everyday Lager right now. Rick, what you didn't hear on Tuesday is that the three of us made a vote.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to rotate the delicious debate.
We start coming up with our own?
So last week...
Homework.
On Tuesday, I did it.
Mm-hmm.
Today, Dan's turn.
Okay.
We're taking this off solely Tyler's plate.
That's fair.
I think it just brings a
Slowly replacing him.
Well,
that's right.
Exactly.
Making him obsolete. One program at a
Our
time.
little secret.
Yeah, don't tell Tyler. We're slowly replacing him.
We'll all mix in on delicious.
There's only 3 chairs in here.
Suddenly there will only be 3 chairs next time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Subtle messaging. Well, today's delicious debate is going to come from our Four Nations, our friends at Four Nations. It's a bit of a hot topic right now, and I thought it might make for a good, delicious debate. We're coming into the big U.S.-Canada matchup on Saturday night. Do you guys think that booing the anthem is fair, or is it foul?
It's foul.
Go ahead, Rick. Why is
foul.
that?
You just don't do it. I understand all the political bullshit that's going on out there, and I get it. But no. Just no. Just no.
My thought was, I think Brad Marchand actually, and I'm going to paraphrase this quote from today, it was kind of like, it's unfair to the players because they have nothing to do with it.
What about the singer? Mm-hmm. The singer who has zero to do with this. I mean, who knows what their thoughts are, but whatever. We have seen so it's as this has happened in the last 10 days or whatever, there's been 12-year-old girls singing and people are booing. Yep. I understand what you're trying to do, but we're Canadians. We take the high road. Not easy, but that's what we do.
Liam?
That's why we're different.
So I check something, and this is fine if it's happened so far, but is that restream muted or no? StreamYard?
It is muted. Yep.
Okay, it's okay. We can just unmute it and we can continue on. It doesn't even need to be edited out of the show.
Wow.
But,
it's a delicious debate.
I'm honestly right on the edge of it because I think I honestly think every opinion is right in this matter. You're right, Rick. The person who is singing the song doesn't deserve to be booed. I also think that person probably goes out there, especially last night when they're like, hey, we're going to give a warning not to boo.
They also did that for Canada, Sweden.
Yeah, true, on Wednesday night as well, yeah.
And I just think we can all sit here and be like, we don't want to bring politics into it. But at the end of the day, the president of the U.S. called our prime minister a governor yesterday.
He's done it a lot of times.
Yeah, and I think Canadians have the right to voice their opinion on that. I personally would not go there and do it. I also wouldn't prevent someone from doing it. And it sucks because you're right. The national anthem of every country should be respected, but also the freedom of people should be respected too. And for the political stuff that's happening down south to be spread up here and everything that's gone on, I don't think is fair. So I, again, wouldn't do it myself. So I'll
no offense, sitting to say yay or nay.
Boo all you want. I think until he stops saying that stuff, then we can move on.
This is lip service. Until they do something, then you can get upset. But if they're just going to sit here and run their mouth and talk nonsense, why even consider it?
I do think it. From what I heard last night, you could hear it for sure. But Tyler said on the show today, is it really wasn't that many people that were doing it.
No, but if you get a cell phone in the right or the wrong area, it either sounds big or little, depending on who they're surrounded by.
I do think.
I thought this was
eventually.
Cam Robinson from Elite Prospects posted a tweet, and I thought it was pretty interesting. So I'll just read it. He goes, I'm texting with an American player who asked to remain anonymous. I asked how he felt about the U.S. anthem being booed, and he says, I don't love it. It makes you kind of cringe to see that. And then I asked what he thought of the continued threats of annexation and the president calling the Canadian Prime Minister governor. And he goes, yeah, when you look at it from that side, I wouldn't like another country threatening to swallow mine up. Especially one as big as the U.S., I'd probably do more than boo an anthem.
See, and I appreciate whoever that was right there because I've seen too many times people are being asked about this and no, I don't like it. No, I don't like it. And blah, blah, blah. And that's cool. Whatever. Ask that question. But ask both sides of the story then.
Yes.
If you're gonna walk in there, the dressing room and bring it up, what do you guys think? No one's booing the anthem for no reason. There's a massive reason why they are, whether it be right or wrong. That's their reaction to it. So if you're gonna ask a player about the booing, then you have to ask about the reason why the boos are coming out in the first place.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. I think it is on every media person that is going to, if you're bold enough to ask the question, you've got to have a follow-up question to give that person, that player, the chance to give their own context to the follow-up there. I think that it's clear that I would say that I'm more on the side of boo away. I think that sports and protesting within sports is kind of a tradition. The Miracle on Ice and the USSR, the Americans were all about that and excited about that. It's just understandable that it is this time. And then also, we're talking about a tournament that doesn't have any Russian players at it. There's a vaguely political reason for that. It's either cheating or it's the war. It's either cheating, it's either the war, whatever the reason is. This whole tournament has been kind of overshadowed by the fact that there isn't Russia there isn't other countries there. And so, it's political. And it's just, I've been on the team ban the anthem since I was a younger lad. I think that you're bringing this kind of stuff into the game when you have that stuff. But it's fans being fans.
I'm all for the anthem. I just don't like, we didn't like it in 2006. And that's, I don't know if that's exactly the time that I learned the American anthem. But I remember because the San Jose fans booed us.
Anaheim was more. Anaheim, I looked at the
I
video
remember
of.
the San Jose one was the first one.
Got it.
That was the reason.
I just saw the video
next
of.
one, we all sang the American anthem.
Yep.
There was a quote from Brad Marchand, if we're getting into it, that was we shouldn't bring like politics into the game, and these players have nothing to do with it. And he's 100% correct. Yep. And if that's the case, then like the Russian players also don't have anything to do with the war and that sort of things. And like we shouldn't dive too deep into it, but like, nope. I just think that like a lot of people probably stand where the majority of us stand of like booing the anthem is disrespectful. It 100% is. But everything else that's gone on is also disrespectful, and I don't think there's any way to prevent it. I think it's just going to happen. I think it's going to be very loud on Saturday when it does. And the U.S. players aren't going to like it, and they should go out and spread that energy onto the ice.
And I'm cool with all that.
Which is what's going to happen.
At the very end of it, it comes to me who's singing, and they don't deserve that. And that's pretty much where it comes. That is like the final decision maker for myself. I'm with everybody on the whole, we don't like this, back off, blah, blah, blah. At the very last point, I look at the person on the ice who's getting an opportunity, whether it be they do it all the time or their first and only chance in their lifetime. They're doing something incredibly special. They don't deserve that. Which, to me, I'll bite my tongue.
Is the only thing I'll disagree with you on, because I personally have a stance of only booing children.
That's fair. Off the ice, yeah, you don't want to see me around them, but...
Yeah. I will boo any and all children.
When this all
Teach them young.
kind of started, Vancouver was one of the first places it went. And the anthem singer did an interview, and she said that she didn't really care. She understood it. She's like, it didn't feel good, and it's just like it was super weird. But like, she basically was just like, I understand the frustration, and I know it wasn't targeted at me.
See, and I no point in even keeping this going, but I think that the tariffs were the thing that really got under everyone's skin, right? And they got pushed back. At the point they got pushed back, I was like, hey, everyone's got to chill now, and we're back into like this weird discussion area and let the politicians do their bullshit. And we have to just say, okay, you know what? If they come back again, if you want to, then okay, I understand it. We're kind of in that point right now where we're not getting focused in on, I don't believe, more than anybody else. So I think at this point, and then Dum Dum can call us whatever the hell he wants. I don't put 2 cents into that. But at that point, if they do put something on us, then I can see it a little bit more. But at this point right now, it's apparently back on the discussion table and blah, blah, blah. We just have to like chill for that moment and find other ways to show our Canadian pride, which I think maybe we do less booing of theirs and absolutely lose your vocal cords on ours.
Yeah. I think I
didn't see anybody like emphasizing our anthem. I didn't see, to be fair with you, you were there, I wasn't. Did they sing the Canadian national anthem the same way Oiler fans do in the playoffs when he throws the mic up?
It was loud.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was like.
But I do think they do that all the time.
Yeah, the Canadian anthem was loud for sure. Yeah. I think that if there was anything that prevented it from getting louder, was that some people in attendance don't know the French words.
I was going to say, don't know the words? Yeah, 100% that would have been me.
And also last night there was no Canadian anthem to cheer for.
No, and that's yeah. So yeah, obviously last night's game is separate from that, but
like when we flipped to English there for the last quarter.
Oh, we came right back.
She ripped.
But that's I think that's it for the. Are we going to try and get out of it, or do we want to keep?
No, I think we all kind of gave our points. I think tomorrow's going to be very passionate,
and that's
from
why
both sides. I think Rick is.
But I also think like as much as I personally wouldn't boo the anthem, I also think that's going to add like a totally different layer of intrigue on the ice. Like I think it's going to make the game spicy. I think it's going to be fun.
See, I'm worried that this more sinks into the U.S. and then they just.
It's possible.
We start to look bad. And then we start to hate each other.
But like humans, at the same point,
because this has nothing to do with us or the us version of Americans, right? We're all just regular people. Yeah. This essentially has zero to do with us.
But I've heard 51st State and Governor Trudeau more times than I ever want to in my life.
Yeah, but honestly, stop listening to him then.
Yeah, but
don't listen to him.
I know, but you're saying that he's not saying anything about the tariffs. You're right. He just now is talking about annexing. So that's where it's like it's exhaustion. It's just pure exhaustion.
Bullshit. Like you have to just ignore it.
I would bet all
Not easy to do, for the record.
I'd bet all of Gregor's money that our anthem's going to get booed next week.
Greg is
And
100%.
and turnabout is fair play,
But
and no
just it.
Canadian
This
is
going to
going
get turned into regular folks hating regular folks, and it's not where it should be.
I love Americans. We love Americans on this podcast.
Delicious debate. Which country do you hate most?
Scotland.
And I just want to thank you guys for.
How did France not come out of your mouth?
Well, we're attached, so that's a big one. France is easily number 2. I think those people have.
There was that video, and they're asking like all the Finnish players, like, Finnish guys. They're coming off the ice. Can you say 3 things nice about Sweden? And they just walk up, and go, nope, nope, nope. That I fully respect. That I can get behind.
Tomorrow's going to be a great day for hockey. 2 like huge international rivalries with 11 a.m. game. I think Sweden, Finland.
You might as well come join us for the second. We are throwing an event at Greta downtown, Canada, USA. Join us at Greta. We are going to have a blast. The nation's going to be down there. We've got tickets for $10. They're available at nationgear.ca, or you got a VIP package still available at $40. You get a burger, a game card, everything you need. Join us tomorrow at Greta. I will be down there. I'm very, very much looking forward to it. Getting into the news. So I was in Montreal for 36 hours.
Is that the shortest you've ever been in a place before where you actually not just like a layover, like you were there?
You flew to there and
for a purpose.
You've done Teal quicker, haven't you?
I think I have a Toronto one that was faster. I think I had a 24 hours in Toronto.
That's funny.
So I saw you were in Montreal, and I saw you posted the picture or whatever of the Montreal smoked meat sandwich.
Yes.
Which I'm always back and forth on that meat. I don't know if I like it sometimes, dislike it, but I need to go try the real deal. My question to you, because I did not see this.
Yes.
But it has to be almost as popular as that sandwich. You were in the Bell Center. Mm-hmm. Everybody sits here and raves about their hot dogs. Did you have one? And could you review it?
No, you're just trying to make me mad. So first of all, smoked meat sandwich. I went to Schwartz's, which is an institution.
Yep.
And Jay and I went for a sandwich, and it was everything I wanted in a smoked meat sandwich.
I think it's tall as hell too. Eh?
It was tall and but when you put it in your mouth, it just disintegrated.
Yeah, yeah.
It was incredible.
My mouth is watering.
That set the bar very high for a Montreal food experience. Then I go into the Bell Center. We're going there for Canada, Sweden. As you said, everybody's saying, you got to have a hot dog. You got to have a hot dog. You got to have a hot dog. And I, as somebody who ate 25 hot dogs over the course of 10 days, feel like I'm an aficionado at this point. So Jay and I, in the second intermission, we go and we get these hot dogs. And when they give them to me, it is a tiny little weenie.
So like the old little Schneider's 12 in a pack type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wrapped in a toasted piece of bread. So I sent Tyler a picture. I'm like, did we get the right hot dogs? And he goes, yeah, man. So I eat it. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I paid $7 or whatever it was for that. I was calling them poverty dogs because when I was growing up,
a little piece of Wonder Bread.
That's all we had in my house. So me and my brother used to crush toasted pieces of bread.
The toasting is a key.
We would crush toasted pieces of bread around a hot dog. I ate hundreds of them growing up.
Boiled or grilled?
Sometimes in the microwave.
So yeah, sometimes in the microwave.
I forgot about that.
Sometimes just a microwave.
We were like 8 and 9 years old this time.
Well, when I was a boy, not that long ago, I used to do the same thing. Mom and dad aren't home yet. Hot dogs in the microwave.
So to hear that this is like a quote unquote you gotta have one, I'm like, you get fucked. I could make 30 of those for the price of one. I will never eat another one of those if I ever go back to Montreal. Not because it wasn't good. It was fine. It was just people set the bar so high that I was expecting something magical.
Yeah.
I got a toasted piece of bread with a tiny weenie.
I feel like that happens a lot. Where you go to somewhere, it's you have to have this. It's amazing.
But no one's ever.
But going back to the Schwartz sandwich, the smoked meat sandwich, everybody says you got to go there to eat one, and it was what they said it was.
And no one's ever gone to Montreal. This is the very first time I've heard a negative comment about their hot dogs.
Really interesting. Did you have a second one by chance?
Why would I?
Just to make sure. Maybe you had a bad batch.
Who's got 2 of those in the budget? If I'm spending $14, I'm going back to Schwartz's for another sandwich.
Should have ties to run down from the press box for you.
So we get back to our Airbnb after the game, and I look at Tyler. I'm like, you fucking sold me out, man. He goes, what? We're arguing about this hot dog. We did it all again yesterday on Real Life as well. So to answer the question, I did have one. Meh. If you want a mediocre hot dog you could easily make by yourself, go spend $7 on one at the Bell Center.
Did you find some real deal poutine?
No, there's poutine places everywhere. I've had so many poutines in my life. I was just like, it's not special to me.
Yeah, poutine's poutine, really, isn't it?
And the French
I don't think you
curds
should tell those people that, but hey.
Oh no, everybody was giving us their take on the best one in Montreal, and then I was like, Jay and I were just talking before the game. We're like, do you care about a poutine? I was like, no, not at all.
Jay's too health conscious to get the fries and cheese and gravy going.
Jay would hate going to an English chippy.
Probably.
See, I would love to go to an English chippy.
Oh yeah, but if Jay's not down for his deep fried food,
we're both on Operation Keep It Tight right now with the real life weight loss bet.
The last day I was in London when I flew back, I had a battered sausage, which was about as long as this arm, so about that long.
You got
for our
foot and a
listeners.
halfer.
And then obviously the fish is battered, the fries are deep fried.
Yeah, but you don't.
But it's always light though, right? Is it not?
Oh, this is it was a lot of food though.
You don't season your fries.
Well, yeah, we do. Salt.
See, when I was going the fish place here, Brits.
Oh, Brit. Well,
fries were blah. I'm a vinegar guy, so I was able to save the day. But
I will say something with Brits, and then I promise we'll talk about hockey at some point on this podcast. You have to stay there. You can't take it home.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
I
travel well.
I live a block away. Although, to be fair, it is no longer Brits.
Yeah, so
it's a Chinese place now.
The one but Chinese chippies.
On 106 or 116 and 104.
Oh, Brits is gone now?
Yeah.
No, there's one in Argyle though.
Oh, okay, that's one.
Well, the downtown one.
Yeah.
The other thing I just kind of wanted to say is I've always wanted to go to the Bell Center for a game because you kind of hear the atmosphere is always electric in there. And I was talking to Matt Larkin from Daily Face Off, and I was just he goes, have you ever been here before? No. He goes, this is my favorite arena to watch a game in. And I thought we had a really cool experience for our first time because we were cheering for the home team. Mm-hmm. We weren't there for an Oilers game getting booed when we're excited. We were on the right side. But when you walk to the Bell Center, you could feel it outside the building. They are buzzing well before puck drop.
I like that.
It wasn't playoff Rogers Place playoff loud. It's impossible to do that. But it was 60 minutes always loud.
And it seems like they're like that in January 13th for the Habs versus the Wild game on a Saturday.
And I was talking to somebody who was sitting beside me, goes to a lot of games at the Bell Center. They were a Habs fan. And I go, is it always kind of loud like this? They go, yeah, this is just what it is to go to a game in Montreal.
That's awesome.
So for me, that experience was really fucking cool.
I did a layover in 2015, I think, where I baked it in. I was flying from Halifax to Montreal, and I made sure that there was enough of a layover for me to be able to go see the Oilers play the Canadians. Oh. And I really, it was just a regular season game. The Oilers had nothing to play for. That was during the decade of darkness.
15. So this is with Connor or before Connor?
It was with Taylor. Taylor was
before Connor, before 15 then.
Yeah.
In Montreal.
And, in Montreal. I feel like the building is just, it's built for the fans to be stacked on each other.
Good point to bring up. So the lower bowl is huge, but it is vertical.
Right.
If you think the steps at Rogers Place are steep, I was looking down in the lower bowl and I was like, man, that is a hike.
So we all press gallery from Calgary. Is that what we're talking? That kind of steepness, the whole place?
Yeah, because you're on top of each other. You're almost
Coombs
looking
falling down
all
the
game.
all the.
If we're at the Saddle Dome,
Coombs falling there too.
Coombsy's going a full row down.
If you have vertigo, in the Bell Center, it will fuck with you.
Yeah.
And then the lower bowl's massive. The second deck, which was where we were, was a little bit smaller, but then the upper bowl is also huge. So there was 21,000 people there when we were there for Canada, Sweden, and the upper bowl of the Bell Center, you'll remember, it had gallery vibes all over.
Yeah.
The tops of the sections almost look like people are sitting on the wall. They're so high up. It's bizarre.
That's crazy.
But it seems like there's no bad seat in that building at all.
I do wish we built Rogers a little more noise friendly in terms of stomp your feet and all of a sudden it sounds like there's a pack of elephants coming.
That was another thing too that Jay and I noticed. The roof at the Bell Center is quite low.
Yeah.
So everything just bounces in there. And it was like I said, it was 60 minutes constantly loud.
And it would have. I mean, that game was something.
Yeah, and the other thing too, like I count myself in as one of those people that I wasn't really excited about this tournament at all.
Are you now?
Oh my goodness!
Going to that game.
When did it kick in?
So right before the game, we went for a drink with Johnny Lazarus, who does some morning cup of hockey at Daily Faceoff, and we were just like, because he knows some of the American players, so we were like, what do you think? Like, do you think the players are going to be engaged, or is this going to be kind of like having a fun little twirl? And he goes, no, man, they're going to be into it. Like, just wait. Just wait. You're going to see they're going to be into it. And as soon as I get in the Bell Center, it's loud. It's buzzing. The Crosby chant was electric. I don't know how that came through on TV.
I don't think I noticed it.
Sounded pretty good.
It's
I
pretty
was in
cool.
a bar though, so I don't know.
And it's kind of like, it's like out of place, but it felt right being in Montreal, hearing that crowd chant that.
The Crosby chant was so loud. The Lemieux chant was ridiculous.
Yeah, Mario.
So that already got me excited. I'm like, all right, the juices are starting to flow. Plus I had a couple of pops.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling like, all right, I'm in. As soon as the game started, PP1 scores a goal in like 3.5 seconds. I'm like,
ridiculous.
all right, let's do it. I am in. And then as the game kind of went back and forth, you saw like some big hits. Konechny laid Ekholm out, which was hurtful yet awesome. Like, I was into it. It took 5-6 minutes.
It took up until like 2 days before where I started to get into it. And then it was like, it's been so long. I think we've been so starved of this. So I know, I think it was Pierre LeBrun put out a tweet or whatever and said he was surprised that fans were thinking players would be like that. But I think it's because fans have been starved of it. You ever been so hungry that you kind of lose your appetite?
Every day.
That's kind of what this is. We've been starved of this for so long. You've kind of forgotten about the feelings that are get wrapped in it. When you're a player, you're a lot closer to it, so you don't really lose that. You're like, oh, it's this close. Oh, it's gone. Oh, it's this close. Oh, it's gone. But as fans, we've kind of like forgotten what it was like.
Well,
so once we got close, I could feel it kicking in.
Though
I am jacked for tomorrow.
I'm super excited for tomorrow. One thing I will say, though, when Mark Stone scored, I stood up, but I did not cheer.
I respect.
I can't.
I
Couldn't
care less. I honestly,
did.
like,
I hold grudges forever.
I
thought it was
smiled and
awesome.
laughed when Marner scored. I'm like, of course it has to be Marner. Of course it has to be a Leaf.
Montreal,
But that did not take away any ounce of cheering or
me
happiness or
I
whatever.
cheered for Marner's goal. I just didn't cheer for Mark Stone.
the NHL probably couldn't have asked for the tournament to start in a better way from the on-ice product.
Well, 'cause, like-
McDavid to Crosby to McKinnon,
But this is
15
almost
seconds in, like, come
why
on.
you have these four teams. Is you have, I don't know if you could find any other teams that have the type of rivalries. Sweden and Finland hate each other.
Yeah.
Canada, the U.S. hate each other.
Obviously, the only layer
There's
would
nobody
be is, like,
out there that has
Canada,
that with
have
Russia.
their rival. At least Canada do,
Or
but like from like
Czechoslovakia.
a
Yeah, but I think-
geography perspective of like the neighboring countries for sure. Like it is perfect, and I do think it was very undervalued what this tournament could be, and I think we all did it too in the build up to it.
100%,
Like, it was-
but I think it's
I
because
think
it was
now
gone for
it's-
so long.
I
We've
agree.
forgotten that. We've lost that taste for blood.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like on the Tuesday episode, I think I said it where it was like, all it's going to take is us as addicts to have it removed from us for a couple of days. And then we know that we've got to wait 2 weeks to get NHL back. So we're all going to look at it.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, couldn't have had a better start to a game.
And Sportsnet should be absolutely nothing besides the 96 series of the 3-game series of Canada, the U.S. is what they should be showing from yesterday till puck drop. Because go back and watch, that was the best players. We're talking Hall of Famers, and it was fucking vicious.
I wonder if
it
we'll
was
see-
vicious. It was honestly, like, I don't know if Canada could do that anymore because we don't have the Adam Foots. We don't have the big mean guys.
But I think Sam Bennett tomorrow.
I
is
love
gonna
that line. I love how they put
gonna
together
make
that
a
line.
name
I
for
love that.
himself.
That line is going to
line.
be a ridiculously
like
annoying.
what Sam Bennett is. I think you can script it already. Him and Kachuk are doing something tomorrow. Matthew. I think they're going to get in some kind of scrum, and Sam Bennett's just going to start punching him in the face.
Or does
something.
Sam go after Brady to piss off Matt even more?
Maybe it will be. There was a moment yesterday.
They started that game
Barkov
very
at-
physical.
Barkov and Matthew Kachuk had a little bit of something. It wasn't anything crazy, but there was a little throw in there. I think tomorrow is going to be like I've not been this excited for a game like for a long
June 24th.
Since the game.
since like play well a
Yes.
game in February
Fair.
probably ever. to be honest.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I'm a little bit nervous about how physical the Americans were.
But that's just it. They came out and played the Finns physical, but the Finns love that. You can play the Finns physical. They'll be fine. They kind of like don't turtle, but they kind of protect themselves, roll off the hits, and keep their game going. They want to play that style. The Americans didn't start handling that game till they started playing less like that and more leaning towards their skill. If they want to play their skill, that's right up our alley. If they don't, then we have to do what the Finns did, kind of deal with it a bit and then let our skill take over. The Americans will lose their game if they come out and try to do Bash Brothers like they did in the first couple of shifts.
Well, if they do try to do Bash Brothers, I think also they're going to be playing with fire. We saw what PP1 did.
Oh, yeah, you can't take a penalty.
Like, go ahead, take penalties against Canada. Like, try to mix it up, see what happens. Like you guys said, though, McDavid to Crosby to McKinnon, like, it couldn't have started better.
No. You don't even mention the fact it was blind. It was a
behind the back,
behind the no look through Ekholm's legs.
Victor Hedman.
Was it Hedman?
It was Hedman.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like, who's been the best defenseman in the NHL for how long? Obviously not so much anymore, but like he was like the best player on Sweden forever.
I also like.
I think I laughed harder than I cheered.
So I was at virtual golf on Wednesdays. I'm now first in my virtual golf league, by the way. I was last for weeks this season. I've really turned it around.
And has the scandal been fixed, or I can't even remember what the scandal was?
Everything's resolved.
Got
We're
it.
all
Okay,
under
perfect.
turn.
Sorry.
But
There's the update we needed.
We obviously had the game on the TVs at golf, and if you ever been, there's like, I think there's 6 bays at this one, and there's 2 TVs, and all of them were full, and I go with 12 of my friends, including me, so 11 friends. That's a berg. And everyone stopped at the start of that game to like watch the opening face-off, and then obviously the power play comes up, and no one played golf for like 10 minutes. Everyone just watched the game and was just like so fired up to like see what's happening, and then obviously it goes to overtime, and that was so cool as well. Like everyone was just cheering.
Because what I was going to say was like early in the first period, when, I mean, Sweden had 1 shot on goal in like 15 minutes or something like that.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to turn into a boat race there for a second. And then when the adjustments happened and Sweden started fighting back, it just got louder and louder and louder. And then overtime was what it was. Also, 10-minute 3-on-3. Let's do that.
Do you know what?
Let's do that.
I think I'm out.
Why?
I think 10 minutes is too much, but I think you can extend it to like 7 or 8. Like, and I know that seems
like a weird ass
very
number.
arbitrary.
Because they only went
6. 7 minutes and 37 seconds of overtime. That's all you're allowed.
If you go, so best on best, like every single player that's going out there is like playing overtime in the regular season. Like, I don't want to see Adam Henry play like
counter. I do. I want to see Connor and Leon up against the other team's third line because everyone's gassed.
And that would be fun. But I think like 7 minutes is a good balance because like, you're probably never get into the shootout ever again.
I think we should do
Frank
7 minutes and
Saravalli,
23 seconds.
I was hanging out with him. I had breakfast with him yesterday, and he was trying to find an article he wrote for like a paper or something when overtime first started. And he did all the math and the calculations. And he said, if you extend it, I'm going to screw up Frank's numbers, but he goes, if you extended the OT period to 10 minutes, his math was something like, based on expected goals, 97% of games would end with a winner. No shootout.
Was he talking 4-on-4 or 3-on-3?
3-on-3.
Okay.
Sorry.
I was just going to say, that would arguably also make the shootout better because you'd see less of it.
And it'd be mean more almost.
So it would become more of a
different level, but the BCHL does 10-minute overtimes, and then it goes to a shootout, and it's 3-on-3. And I think there's been 2 this season.
That's what I mean. Like
regularly.
I love the mismatches that would come with an extended OT period.
Yeah.
It's more of a chess game at that point.
I mean, if you
and
actually,
a team game.
If you actually watch the game, like if you remember the players that went out there, we didn't get into every other line.
No.
Sam Reinhart did not play in overtime.
So neither did half the guys. Crosby only had 2 shifts.
Sorelli-
the first one and the last one.
Sorelli and Brendan Hagel snuck on.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did that. And like great players, but like I'm putting Sam Reinhart over the boards. I'm putting Brendan Hagel.
I want to see who's faster because I think they're looking at speed at this point. Like I get what Reinhart can do in terms of shooting.
Yeah, I would have Braden Point out there for a few more times before I put Sorelli. Yep. I mean, at the end of the day, Sorelli's also a great player, but you can put any of those Canadian forwards on, you'd be fine.
Well, and that's where I would love to see it in the NHL because again, it just forces the overtime to be a team game instead of the top guys.
And how jacked up were you when they finally got to Connor and Nate and Makar?
Well, I mean, if Connor touched the puck, I'd be a little bit more excited.
I
wasn't mad like I saw some people like your guys' show. I was in the comments. I was just like watching ONE.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, oh boy, these comments are just out of control.
The only thing I'll say about the McKinnon thing is I would pass it to him only because you're going to get that puck back again. And it's going to be a way better scoring opportunity.
Yeah.
I think that conversation was very blown out of proportion online.
I did too. I was just like,
it was crazy.
There's 2 times where Connor had the puck inside our own zone and started flying. And if Nate put his head down, like Leon does, bang, you got a 2-on-1. And then there was another time Connor was going, or they were cycling, and Nate had the puck around the blue line. And instead of giving it to Connor,
back.
He took it outside the blue line. And then circles back and tries to do it himself.
So I would like to preface all of this by saying... I actually don't care that Nathan McKinnon took 5 shots in overtime.
Not really.
He's one of the best, well, if not the best player in the moment of the NHL, one of top 3, whatever we want to do. That's not the debate.
Disrespectful.
You want those guys to shoot the puck if he's playing on Colorado. You're playing with the best players in the league right now. Like, you don't need to circle back as you have McDavid and McCall crossing the blue line. So, like, we need to refuel
I need to have this puck.
Yeah, get the puck in and pass it to McDavid.
You've got one of the best passers in the league. He's going to get it to you.
The 2-on-1, when you watch it from the angles, he probably did make the right play. But, I don't know. Like, seeing 5 shots and, they're all coming in. You're not doing anything different. The goalie's probably just, he's going to shoot. And he's going to run into my chest.
And he was trying to dangle all 3
more
guys.
Than more than that 2-on-1. I didn't like the fact he just grabbed it from the own blue line.
Yeah.
And put his head down. It's like, calm down, rest of the Avalanche. I got this. Like, hold on.
Yeah.
You got some help out there.
You got a few bodies out there.
Yeah,
so
they can handle it.
I actually agree with the people who are like, he should have passed. He should have passed twice.
But in these tournaments,
shoot.
In these tournaments, I would love 2 exhibition games. The skill players need time to gel. That's why the game was so close. We have more skill, but because of you're playing fresh, like you've never played these guys before, really outside of a couple practices, it allowed lesser skill to be closer in the game, just because the skill hasn't really come together yet.
Can I ask you a question?
Of course.
So I thought about this yesterday as I was watching Finland and Sweden. And
it's changing your story.
Sweden, they're right now, I feel like we're always known for these elite forwards. Alfredsson, Sedins, Forsberg. I'm probably missing some guys, but you know what I'm saying. And their blue line was always good. Lidstrom, Cromwell, those guys. But it feels like it's totally swept now, where their forward group is still strong, but they don't have that elite player. Do you think it's crazy for me to think that Finland have better forwards than Sweden do?
No, when I looked at the 2 rosters, I did think that Finland might be better than Sweden overall. However, last night didn't exactly instill a bunch of confidence in me.
No, it certainly did not.
But yes, I would agree with you a little bit more than.
Speaking about the team that's not here, do you think they'd be where do you think they'd sit in this tournament?
Russia?
They'd be a top team for sure.
I think they'd be better than the U.S.
Think so?
I think.
I looked at some of those.
So many good players.
I just don't think they're not what they used to be. And you look like Ovi's old.
Crosby's old.
Yeah, but Ovi's different kind of old.
But Ovi's replaced by Kucherov. You know what I mean? He's not a first line player. He's your third line guy. You put him on the power play.
But the rest of those, I think I saw a mock, and Mishkov was second line. That's just.
I'm just looking at the daily face-off mock up right now.
They don't have the young version of Ovechkin and the old version of, say, Datsuk and those guys. They aren't that. They don't have the best goaltender in the world anymore. They don't have that anymore.
So
I think that their defense would be their downfall, and I think that's always been their issue, is that their defense, while it has some names on it, is not does not exactly instill a lot of fear into the hearts of forwards.
I think this would be.
We're gone from the days. Remember, back in the 90s,
Yeah,
when you had a line where it was Fedorov, McGillney, and Bure as a line.
Terrifying.
So Stephen Ellis wrote this article on Daily Faceoff back on December 6th of 2024. And it was, if Russia and Czechia were in the event, who would be there? I'll read it for you, Rick.
And Gino's old.
So their first line, again, this is December, so things might have moved. Kaprizov, Malkin, Kucherov. Second line, Panarin, Buchnevich, Svechnikov. Third line, Ovechkin, Barbashev, Michkov. Fourth line, Marchenko, who's having a great year. Voronkov.
He needs Tyler.
Nichushkin, who probably wouldn't have been on the team now. Pavel Dorofeyev. Blue line is Svechnikov, Gavrikov, Provorov, Zadorov, Orlov, Romanov, Mintokolov.
For some reason, it's Sergachev.
What did I say?
Sergachev,
probably.
Sergachev.
I feel like I was just in a roll.
Yeah, that was different.
But like, look at their second line center.
Buchnevich,
Where does he fit on Team Canada?
fourth line center.
You're going to put him there instead of Point?
Well, that's where Sorelli's playing.
Sorry?
I would have him over Sorelli.
Point's there next game.
Last game it was Sorelli.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
either way,
Yeah, I just remember
that's
what's
who I
going
would
on.
replace.
I'm just like, there's just some guys there that they're in the top 6. You're barely cracking Canada's lineup, and you're most likely going to be in the same situation when you look at the American team.
Yeah, this team's probably not better than the U.S. now that I really think about it.
You know what I'd love?
I'm not sure they're going to.
But that
I'm not
goaltending.
sure they're going to go out there and beat Finland or Sweden. Those are going to be really close games.
Well, I'll tell you why they
not the way
would.
it used to be.
Shesterkin, Vasilevsky, Ilya Sorokin. That's not bad.
Pretty good.
You can only pick one of them, though, Liam.
You can only play one
At a time.
Vasilevsky for sure.
Well, the other thing, too, is like Gary Bettman on Wednesday, I think, if my dates are correct, announced the World Cup's coming back, and it's going to be 8 teams.
February, though.
So you got to assume if we're talking 8 nations facing off,
And I
Add
think
4 more.
I think
who
they
would be
also
the other 4?
I think
Russia
they
would
be
they
one.
don't want these like Team Europe or anything like
Yeah,
that.
they said
So
no
Russia,
mixed made-up teams. So
Russia,
you would have Russia, Czechia. Then who are the other two?
Slovakia.
And then you're probably looking at a Germany,
Switzerland or something?
Germany, Switzerland type of.
I think you have to go Germany.
I think
Really?
you're probably going to look at like the world rankings and
Best
stuff.
on best.
Yeah, Germany.
It has
for
to be
sure.
Germany because you're looking at look at the German
Draisaitl,
players.
Stützle.
You can come up
Yeah.
with 5 massive German players. You can't Swiss without
Yeah,
doing
like
some work.
Marit Seider.
Gaetan Haas takes umbrage with you.
Gaetan
Like,
Haas is
Who's Switzerland? Nino Niederreiter, Roman Yossi. I feel like I'm maybe missing one other guy. But either way, like Germany
I
definitely
do believe
is.
Germany has a bigger name,
But
so
the,
that'd be Germany.
the layer of it is like
I
have
got a
to-
little list for you. Roman Yossi, Nico Hischier, Nino Niederreiter, Kevin Fiala, Timo Meyer, Jonas Siegenthaler,
Siegenthaler,
Philip Kurashev, Pius Suter, Kira Schmid, Mark Straight. He still plays, right? Mark Straight?
I would assume.
Man, they were trying to get him here a trillion years ago.
Oh, these are just all Swiss guys who have played in the NHL because there's Gaetan
They might
Haas.
need them.
Yeah, bring back
They
Gaetan
might.
Haas. He's a utility knife.
But you're still, you got Leon, you got Stützle, you got Seider, you got a bunch.
Let's check.
Yeah.
German NHL players.
Don't we have one? Don't we have a kid in the minors too?
Luka
Bias reader is
Monsenberg.
there.
So Draisaitl, like the top listed ones are obviously Leon, Philip Grubauer. Like if he's your goalie, you're in trouble. Tim Stützle, Marie Seider, JJ Peterka, Lucas Reichel, Nico Sturm. Oh, now we're getting to guys who don't play anymore.
There's a few guys.
Dominic Cahoon, we could bring him back.
Yeah, from watching like junior hockey and stuff.
Olaf Kolzig is their backup.
Oh, that's a good one. Germany probably has a better group of players making their way through the rankings than like what a Switzerland have by the time this
agree.
comes around. And also too, like Czechia, while I think they only have 28 NHL players right now. They're lower like development teams. They've got some sick players. They'll probably be able to increase that number to like 40, 45, I would think, by the time that comes around. Maybe not quite 45. But either way, like the NHL has to figure out a way to partner with the IHF.
Well, I was gonna say, didn't they? Yeah, they said they don't want to deal with them, right?
Then
Was that? Did they do that to allow Russia to be in?
what they do, well, the IHF said that Russia and Belarus aren't involved in events either.
Yeah, but then the NHL's like, we're not gonna deal with IHF, and to me, they said we don't want to deal with them, so that Russia could come in.
But
Yeah, they might.
that means that they have to be able to bring in NHL signed players for
And,
these teams.
and AHL and KHL.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. It's going to be very difficult. But my question is, because it was announced, and I'm sure you have it, that Edmonton is maybe a candidate to host this event. I don't think it should be in North America. And maybe it doesn't work if this is like a mid-season thing, but I would love this to be in Europe.
Why?
Because the
You like
point
it?
of
What
these...
time do I have to wake up?
A 9 a.m. game? Is that what you're talking about? I love, by the way, I would in an instant do Canada, the 5 a.m. game again in an instant.
5 a.m. Bloody hell.
Don't you remember that?
I do. I wouldn't do it again. I fell asleep actually because that was the Olympic final, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah,
I fell asleep in the third.
I didn't make it down.
I started working at 11. I started working at 11:30 p.m. and I worked till 6 p.m. And I made some of those guys out there hang out with me till about almost 6. I can't remember if you were there.
No, I didn't make it there. I was on my way, and then I started having beers at like 4 a.m. and then I was kind of
That's right. It was one of my favorite work days ever.
I was hungover by breakfast.
It was a long day.
We had to change the rules for that one, if I remember correctly.
We did. I still have a tweet out there. I tweeted at the Alberta government, said something, whatever, ridiculous. And they tweeted me back saying, yes, Rick, we will change the hours. So I tried to take all the credit.
I want to talk about the Oilers. Liam, I got excited about Noah Dobson. You wrote an article saying it's not going to happen. Why? Pourquoi?
As quoted by Frank in the way I ended the article, only Lou and God know. So he said, like, any rumor that's coming out of the Islanders, like, he's like, not to like disrespect people's reporting, but like, it's a lie. Like, people don't know.
Lou's not telling anybody anything.
He's like,
he's using that red phone cord. That's why nobody can get in
not
there.
even plugged in.
So the other week there was a report from RG, a website called RG something. I can't remember what it was.
RG3?
RG3.
I believe
probably.
so. Yeah, RG3.
Football's over. He's got to do something.
Yeah, must have been that. That Noah Dobson could be available for the right price.
Well, that's pretty much true about every player in the NHL.
But then the Islanders wanted to have an elite scorer coming back in return.
Again, as pretty much every.
So there was links to him and like Elias Pettersson to Vancouver and stuff
But
like
they said
that.
elite scorer though.
But then Frank came on our show on O&E the other day and said like, hey, like don't expect Noah Dobson to be moving anywhere, which is super disappointing because he's a $4 million defenseman who is awesome.
I got my heart set.
I do. It's gonna get broken. But
speaking of elder GMs, like go back and listen to Real Life from yesterday if you haven't heard it. On our red eye to Montreal.
Oh yeah.
We are sitting. So let me explain our stupid route that Jay and the J math behind it.
Yes.
We flew from Edmonton, Alberta.
Went to Vancouver.
To Vancouver, BC.
That adds up.
To jump on the red eye to Montreal. And Jay's math in his head was, well, that flight's about 5.5 hours. We might get more sleep on the plane. And I go, I don't think it's going to work that way.
Was there an option of going Edmonton to Montreal?
No, there was no direct.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, that's the way we went. So we get to we get to Vancouver and we're just kind of hanging out at the gate waiting to get on. And I'm just putzing around and Jay's like poking me. He's poking me. And I'm like, he's like, Ken Holland's on our flight. I'm like, oh, fuck, there's Ken Holland. He's just standing in the line. And Jay, being bougie, he upgraded himself.
You walked past him?
So,
excuse me, sir. I'm allowed first.
So I saw that they were both in, like...
The first couple of rows?
The first couple of like things. I was like, imagine if you sit next to Ken Holland. He goes, well, he's doing the math. He goes, I think I got about a 1 in 16 chance. So, first segment go, I was like the third chunk of people to go. So anyway, like I get on the plane about 10 minutes after Jay and I'm walking on. He and Ken Holland are sitting next to each other, fully engaged in conversation.
100%.
And I walk past and I start cracking up because he's been on the plane 10 minutes and they look like they've been chatting for 30 minutes. That proceeded, those two bullshitted until Jay finally had to kind of be like, oh, I got to try and get some sleep, Ken. And he goes, oh, okay, no problem. I don't sleep on planes. So Jay was asking him all kinds of things about the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah.
Jay thanked him for Matthias Ekholm.
Right.
Jay asked his prediction on Bouchard's contract.
Yeah.
Jay asked his prediction on Stuart Skinner's contract.
Yeah.
And Ken Holland was happy to chat about it.
Jay's
Can we get some answers here, please, by the way?
Bouchard, he goes, well, because we know how Jay feels about Dad.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he goes,
did you see the debate Jay and I had the other week?
No.
The last 10 minutes of O&E, Tyler did not talk because
there with
Jay
him.
and I were debating about Bouchard and Moritz Seider.
Oh, yeah, because he wanted to. So Jay's awful trade was he would trade Bouchard and a first for Moritz Seider.
That's ridiculous.
And I was like, Jay
Should have had to give up his plane seat to you for that.
He should have.
The next day, Jay texted me, and he was in a meeting with some people, and he was like, they said they would trade their families for Moritz Seider. And I replied, and I said, well, if they threw in a few picks, I might consider it too. No response.
So anyway, he goes, Ken, Bouchard's contract's going to be a problem, right? And he goes, wow, he's probably going to get 10 plus. I don't know. He goes, but what about Stu? He's going to ask for 7 or 8. And then Jay went, Jay goes, he must have seen the look on my face because he was like, oh no, 7 or 8. But then he was kind of working through it, and it was just interesting how forthcoming Ken Holland was with him. And again, Jay tells the stories because obviously secondhand through me now at this point, but fascinating how Uncle Ken was just happy to chat.
I bet those guys just love to talk.
So is he on the Vancouver flight or the Edmonton flight?
He was from Vancouver to Montreal. So Jay asked him what he was doing there, and his answer was pretty hilariously vague. He goes, I'm here to help the NHL with the GMs.
Oh, yeah, because he's like an advisor or whatever, isn't he?
But he also told Jay that he still wants to be a GM in the league.
That's crazy. Jay chose sleep over
I would
getting
not sleep.
information out of Ken Holland.
So then Jay ended up falling asleep and then was awoken by Ken Holland enjoying a wonderful business class breakfast. So then they resumed the conversation.
That is a wild story.
I feel like when you get kind of like thrust into that position, he was probably operating on a high clip of like trying to come up with things so he needed that little nap just to kind of tuck in a few more of those.
I only have like 5 more questions. We have 4 more hours. You're like, we're going to get some weird, awkward silence. I may as well just take a quick nap.
They talked about golf a lot.
Okay.
Obviously both love golf. They talked about Ken loves junior hockey. Talked a lot about junior hockey.
because Jay loves the Warriors.
That's actually what prompted the conversation starting. Jay was wearing his Moose Jaw Warriors hat. And then Ken Holland looked, he goes, you a Moose Jaw guy? And you know Jay loves Moose Jaw.
Oh, yeah. Surprised that wasn't the whole conversation.
So away they went.
That's
so
awesome.
Go back and listen to Real Life yesterday. He kind of tells his side of the story. I was just sitting there. Of course, the curtain was drawn, so I can't see. But I was just chuckling to myself in my seat because I was just like, I don't even know what I would ask if I was sitting next to Ken Holland.
So much.
Couldn't you just text, hey, Jay, just give me a call and leave your phone on your lap. Just leave it open. I want to listen.
Yeah, I should have got the Wi-Fi on the plane.
Well, if you had one question to ask Ken Holland, what would you ask him?
Oh, boy.
First off, where do you get up?
First off, how dare you?
It probably wouldn't be wouldn't be a very like in-depth question or something like that. It'd probably just give me what are your some of your best stories?
Yeah.
I think I would.
I don't think he's gonna give you too much information on player A or player B. So give me a story. Maybe something pops in my head about a Detroit player. Maybe a specific. How exactly did you go about making the Neil Lucic trade? Something, but I think I more just want to lob something out there and just want an hour and 20 minutes of story time. I'll sit there, with my legs crossed, and the whole thing of milk.
That just kind of prompted one other thing that they talked about was the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah,
and to Ken Holland, where the Oilers lost that series was not Game 7, it was Game 1.
They were terrible.
Oh, great!
I remember, right? Oh no, they
got goalied.
That's
they got
right,
goalied.
Game 2, they were terrible.
That is exactly what happened in 2006. We lost Game 1, and that ruined us.
Well, that was a little bit of a different scenario. With
it's been a while since you banged your head.
Different way of losing, but at the end of the day, Game 1 is kind of what ruined us.
It threw us off of our game, and then
Ken Holland just said that was the one that lost them the series.
Looking back at it, it totally was because they should have won that game.
They were dominant.
Yeah. Did someone hit the post early, or did Bobrovsky make a big save? I can't remember.
There was breakaways that Bobrovsky stopped. There was 2-on-1s. There was power plays. We were.
Oh, and scored on the Florida scored on the power play, which ended our penalty kill streak.
Yeah.
We gotta remember this stuff.
Well, Bobrovsky was unreal for the first 3 games of that series.
Yeah, and then we got him pulled.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then.
Yep.
I agree.
Oh, hey.
I would ask him about Woodcroft. I would want to know how difficult that was and how the decision of it, who made the last call.
That was a tough one because I don't think you can put what happened up until that point of that season on the coach. No. It was a lot of little things going wrong, and it wasn't really off ice because I don't think they were being taught to make those mistakes. the guys with skates on their feet were making the mistakes, and that's kind of why we ended up where we ended up. And then and I've said it a lot of bad luck that ended up going exactly against us.
I think I'd have questions about the bubble hockey year. What
I'd
went
have
wrong?
questions
that
about,
were going to pop in my head. I need this help here.
Yeah.
I would have a question about, I know you're not the GM anymore, but like there's a certain guy that needs an extension. What do you think that looks like?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Is there any way of hiding a couple extra of his dollars so we can bring?
Yeah, like can you have like a percentage of earnings on concessions or something? Like, are we allowed to do that?
Rexall employees.
Defer.
That's what I'm talking about. Defer it. It's a 20-year contract now.
We've been yammering on, boys. We got 3 more segments to get to, and we've almost hit an hour, so we got to rip through them. I want to talk about a little bit of betting for our friends at Bet365. So I've got some of the odds for tomorrow's Canada-USA game. So I'm just gonna give you some info. Let me know what you like. Let me know what you don't like. I think we're gonna do this a little bit differently because it's it's a big game tomorrow. We're all excited. So the betting segment is brought to you by our friends at Bet365, proud partner of Oilersnation Radio. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. Use the code NATION. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. So I got the lines here for you on the main. So Canada is favored on the money line, fellas, at -115. However, the U.S. is only -105. So we got a tight one here. Puck line, I would be surprised if there was a puck line win for either side, but the Canada at -1.5 is +225. USA to be +1.5, so lose by less than 2 goals, is -275. Over under is set at 6.5 for tomorrow. I could see that. We could get some goals, although Hellebuck could ruin that. Jordan Binnington makes me nervous.
Did you see the PK Subban?
Oh, he's leaky.
Yeah. He's always been leaky. Just put pucks on him.
Always been leaky. The best goalie in the NHL. Like
he was talking about Hellebuck? I thought he was talking about Binnington.
Oh, right after that first goal by Finland, they had like a live reaction to him.
He's leaky.
And he's like, he's leaky. He's always been leaky. Just get pucks on him.
A nice one, PK.
Hey, look at that Darnell Nurse shot from whenever.
Oh, yeah, the Darryl.
puck on net.
That's true. He is a pretty leaky guy. I've always said that.
Over under is set at 6.5, fellas. If you take the over, that's +105. Under is -125. And then I got some goal props, some anytime goal props for our fellas.
If it's a high scoring game, they're going out of business.
Oh my goodness. I love it so much. The goal props, the anytime goal props both games are awesome.
Let's just rip through some of these. So like starting with the Canadian side, Nathan McKinnon +200 for an anytime goal. Connor McDavid +200. Sam Reinhart +225. Braden Point +260. Mark Stone exists. Sidney Crosby +300. Mitch Marner +350. Seth Jarvis +425. Brad Marchand +425. By the way, when Brad Marchand scored, it was one of the things that made me laugh the most from Canada and Sweden because like cheering, yeah, Canada, but then there was like a smattering of boo. Very funny to me.
Would have been the same thing with Marner.
Very, very funny to me. Cale Makar +500. Sam Bennett's getting in +500. Brendan Hagel +600. Looking at the American side, Austin Matthews is favorited to score a +190. Then you got Kyle Connor +230. Jack Hughes +230. Matt Tkachuk +275. Jack Eichel +320. Like Liam said, the goal props here are very juicy.
You didn't even get to the best one yet.
What do you got?
Brady Tkachuk is like +400 to score a goal.
Brady Tkachuk.
Go further down.
I like the
Why is he so far down?
Who knows? Brad Marchand is a great one too.
425.
Brady Tkachuk +400.
Sweden, Finland. The favorite to score, I think, is Nylander at +200. Like Adrian Kempe 220. Come on.
Any of those goal scorers that kind of stick out to you?
I think McKinnon at that price is awesome. Same with McDavid. I like Mark Stone to score for the Oilers. What are they called in Canada?
+260 for Mark Stone.
Canada Oilers.
Unreal. Canada Oilers. Whoever it is. Like I really couldn't care less who's like what team players play for anymore.
I hold grudges.
That's fine. But I just need that.
I'll just like Mark Stone until I'm dead.
You know what? And I know he scored a goal. I still think it should have been Scheifele, but hey. I think they're essentially the same player, but Scheifele is bigger, stronger. Like, maybe he's not so...
You know who I like? Because he's just a rascal out there, and I think tomorrow's game against the U.S. is going to bring out the best in him.
Jarvis?
Brad Marchand.
Oh, yeah.
+425. Anytime goal.
Man, it's ridiculous, but I am holding my breath that he has a Oiler jersey on next year. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. It most likely won't work. but I don't think I'd smile bigger unless we won the cup. Sorry, Dan.
It's okay.
I would love him on this team.
Yeah, I would too. That would be awesome.
Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. Use the code NATION, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Gentlemen got Ask the Idiots questions. We only got 3. So we're going to rip through this back half of the podcast. 3 segments in 6 minutes. Ask the Idiots presented by the Nation Vacation.
It's like how that game died in the third period last night.
See, it was started. I got on the plane. It was the first period.
It was 2-1 going into the third, and it was 4-1 like 30 seconds in.
Perfect. Yeah, I saw the Kachucks had a day.
Yeah.
Finland played 2 periods.
Once they scored that second goal, I was like, sorry, Finland, I don't think this is your chance now.
Ask the Idiots is presented by the Nation Vacation to Vegas. We are just over a month away from hopping on a plane and going south. Join us. There's still a couple of spots left. This thing is going to sell out. So go to nationgear.ca. We got a flight package for you if you want to join us on the plane. If you got points or whatever, or you live in a different location, we've also got the non-flight package, and we've also got just a ticket-only package if you were already in Vegas and you just want to join us. We're going to be staying at watching the game from the Stella Artois Lounge, which is an all-inclusive space in the arena. You give me an all-inclusive in about 3 hours, I'm going to do some damage.
Seen it.
I have talents. NationGear.ca. Join us on the Nation Vacation. I promise you're going to have a good time. All right. Ask the Idiots. Just slide on into my DMs if you want to ask the boys a question. They don't see these before we record, so I get their first take on it. Rick, I'm going to start with you.
Yep.
How important do this one comes in from our boy Steven Fiddler. How important do the idiots think it is for the Oilers to catch the Jets in order to avoid playing either the Avs, Wild, or Stars in the first round? The Flames or Canucks would be easier travel and potentially easier opponents depending on the standings.
Yeah, I'm not. I haven't really looked at that to see where we'd end up and whatever. I just have first place in the Pacific, and that's all I'm worried about. And that gives you,
Dan?
You're talking President Trophy winning Edmonton Oilers if they're ahead of the Winnipeg Jets. I don't think it's as necessary as Steven has kind of laid it out there. I think that this team is destined to do great things no matter where they finish in the regular season.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think the Oilers are their best can beat Colorado and Minnesota with their eyes closed, to be honest.
I'm with Rick in the sense that
just doing it with your eyes closed.
The Colorado Avalanche are what the Oilers were when they faced them in the Western Conference Finals, where they've got one line, decent defense, the rest of them. Like when we lost there, Colorado the other day, Colorado didn't do anything else.
We didn't lose because the Oilers were awful.
Yeah, exactly.
For me, I'm with Rick. Like, win the division because, again, going back to the Stanley Cup final conversation, if Game 7's in Edmonton, the Oilers win.
Yeah.
So get home ice. So first division win since 1987. I'd love to see it. Question number 2, reversing the order. Liam, you're up first. Canada-USA is coming up on Saturday, and it's obviously a very exciting rivalry for the Four Nations tournament. But what do you think is the best rivalry in any sport?
Oh, man. The other day, and this one's fresh in my mind, and obviously I'm going to go to a soccer one. Liverpool played Everton the other day, which Liverpool, if you don't know, kind of the English football, Liverpool's like the most successful British team, English team of all time, and Everton's just been their like neighbor, and they don't have much else. And the other day, it was a 2-2 tie, and Everton scored with a last-second kick off a corner. And at the full-time whistle, 3 players and the manager all got red cards. Wow. So it was awesome. Also, underrated one, because it's a Ryder Cup year. Team Europe versus Team USA has been unreal at the Ryder Cup last few years. So that's true. It has a good one, too.
Dan, any sport, what's the best rivalry for you?
I genuinely don't know. I think each sport has its own thing. Like I was just thinking of curling rivalries that I've seen over the years.
This weekend.
There's some good heat between teams there where they end up lining up against each other year after year after year, and it's just kind of nonstop. But I don't know. I feel like rivalry kind of has like its own place in each sport and has its own mystique built around it. International rivalries are just going to always be there and exist, but. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a good answer. I'm
Ricky,
just an idiot.
Sticks out?
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Canada US in hockey right now. I think because the sport and the game itself is so exciting. Both teams. This has been going on a long time. Both teams are always at their best, I guess, just picking your best. When you look at a lot of like long-term, old school, like Yankees, Red Sox, a lot of old ones like that, they're not at their best right now, right? Like Yankees, Red Sox isn't really a thing right now. Cowboys, Niners isn't really a thing right now. Yeah. You go over to the EPL. There aren't two big, massive heads that keep banging right now. Everton, that's, a big and a little type of thing.
It's a local rivalry.
Yeah, exactly. But you don't have any of the long-term Montreal, Boston's not really a massive one because they're not at their peaks. Right now, Canada, U.S. hockey are at their peaks. They haven't done this in 10, 11 years, whatever it is. And I just don't think any other one out there, long-term, long-running, is at its peak right now. So I'm just going to stick with what we have.
Edmonton Vegas is a good one.
Edmonton Vegas is a good one.
Not the best, but it's really good.
I agree with Rick, so I'm just kind of going to go with my favorite rivalries that I can think of because, if one team's good, one team's bad. Like Edmonton-Calgary right now is not Battle of Alberta, but I think of 2022.
That was awesome.
That was awesome.
That was crazy.
That was electric. So Battle of Alberta is always going to be a favorite for me. I'm a little bit of a homer, but I've also been plenty of games at the Saddle Dome where it was not fun in there, and vice versa here at Rogers Place. So that one sticks out just because I watched it recently. The 2004 Yankees Red Sox. Yep. If you haven't watched that docuseries on Netflix, it is awesome. That Fever one Pitch. Was hated. Yep, love Fever Pitch with Jimmy Fallon.
Red Sox, those two teams were at their peak at that point. Like you look at their rosters, it's incredible.
Yeah, like just talking about Pedro plunking guys, and like that was all fantastic.
Don Zimmer, the manager.
Don Zimmer, yeah, of course, when he chucked him down. So those are the ones that kind of stick out for me the most. So probably just because they're my favorite rivalries. But Rick's right. Right now, current day, tomorrow's game is going to be great. Jumping in the middle, Dan, you're up.
Yes.
This one comes in from Devin. Last question for Ask the Idiots for the Nation Vacation. Would you be willing to give up all of your vices for the rest of your life if you got to see an Oilers Stanley Cup win in June?
This June? Oh, man, like I gave up ketchup at the start of this season. Didn't tell anybody about it, but I don't eat ketchup anymore.
Is that advice?
No, it's just because of Connor.
He's just at the fridge. He's just lunging it down.
He's walking downstairs to the bottom of the stairs. He just got a little thing of ketchup. What are you doing? Hey, no one's supposed to see me.
If Connor's afraid of it, I'm not going to eat it. But no, I don't think I would give up all my vices. I think that there's a beauty in waiting for good things to come to you as a fan of the Oilers since birth. I've been waiting 38 years for it, and I've watched 2 Stanley Cup final Game 7 losses. So no, I wouldn't give up my vices. It's coming. It's going to be here soon. It's just
Liam, you giving up all your vices?
Not a chance. Oilers, I love them. They're not my life. I can't do it.
We're so close right now. I don't think you have to. Just like
I've literally got a zin in my mouth right now, so no, I'm not. I am with Dan. I think it's coming, so you don't need me to do that. And let me live my life. Leave me alone.
Now, if you asked me in like 1997 when we've lost to the Dallas Stars and the Colorado Avalanche,
you asked me in 2013.
Yes. Yeah, or like year 8 of the Decade of Darkness, maybe.
You ate beets for 2 years. I wore shorts for 2 years. Yeah, like it's just
there's still beet juice in that hotel room.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Evan, the intern.
Sandman.
All right, fellas, we're going to wrap up the podcast. Hot and cold performers here. Who do I attach to this one, Liam? Oh, Oodle Noodle. Of course, our friends at Oodle Noodle. Speaking of the Nation Vacation, if you go into any Edmonton location of Oodle Noodle right now, you can get an entry just for walking into the door for a draw to win a trip for 2 on the Nation Vacation. If you order something to eat, which why wouldn't you if you're there? You get a second entry right there. Also, if you get a Tokyo Glaze this month, that is the community box at Oodle Noodle. So 10% of all sales from the Tokyo Glaze box, which is one of my favorites, is going to Sports Central, which is obviously a great charity here in the city. Hot and cold performers, Liam. I'm getting my buttons ready. You're up first. Your cold performer of the week for our friends at Oodle Noodle.
This is an easy one for me for a couple of reasons, but I have to give it to the ocean. Yes. I mean,
which one specifically?
All of them.
All of them?
They're very dangerous, Rick.
What have they done to you?
Nothing, because I daren't go in them. I'm terrified.
Nowhere near them.
In Florida, BM will vouch for me. I stayed out of that thing, but we saw that guy get eaten by a whale the other day. That was insane. In Chile. And then
Did he spit him out?
He did, thank goodness. And then the other day, there was that guy in New Zealand who was kayaking, getting chased by a great white. And he's like, I've been paddling for 300 meters, and I'm about 4 kilometers away from the beach. And you see these two fins just chasing after. It was, I mean, obviously he survived. He took the video was posted, but boy, oh boy, I was unsure for a while there. So the ocean.
I'm upset.
You know what? I saw the video of the whale. I couldn't imagine being more rattled than just being like, I'm having a lovely day on the water, and now I'm gone.
How far in does he go? Like just to the mouth?
Like,
get in the stomach.
I think just the mouth. He comes
I've
out.
been in a whale's mouth before.
You've been in a whale's mouth before?
Yeah, well, I used to pee. I used to pee in there.
In high school, I was in Halifax and and took oceanography as my science, and so I've actually got to see like baleen up close. So the person goes into the mouth, they're just going to be running up against the baleen that filters through the plankton and the krill and stuff.
Either way, that is a trauma I'm carrying forward with me for a long time.
It's going to be a story.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, the ocean. I would assume that's all yours, guys. It's cold performance.
Yeah, that's.
Dan, you're up next. Cold Performer of the Week for our friends at Oodle Noodle.
Thanks for stealing it from me. I'm just going to give it out to Kanye. He's had one hell of a week, and I'm sick and tired of hearing about the guy.
Oh, man, you got to get that advertising out there.
Getting a divorce now, too, only a couple of weeks after the Grammys.
Everything you did this week, Kanye, Cold Performer of the Week.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
There's part of me that is Kanye West going to wake up one day and be like, yay, what have you been doing this whole time?
You didn't buy the t-shirt?
Oh my goodness.
Oh my Lord. You can look that up on your own time.
Yeah, that's why I just gave it to Kanye.
Special week. Actually, no, it was really bad. It was like,
horrendous.
What is going on here?
Not a fine series of tweets.
Yeah.
Rick, you're up next here. Cold Performer of the Week for Oodle Noodle.
It has to go down to the Super Bowl. It just wasn't a very exciting game. I'm not talking about the winners. I don't care about the halftime. Like, it was the game itself. Yeah. It was a bit of a blow. Well, not a bit of a blow. It was a big blowout, and the game itself was just kind of boring.
Are you thrilled? I'm not.
It was funny because Frank Saravalli he and his son went to the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Huge Eagles fans.
Yeah.
So we was just being like, oh, did you watch the Super Bowl? I was like, yeah. I was just like, it was kind of boring. He goes, yeah, maybe for you.
Yeah, you would have. Give me an Oilers Stanley Cup victory like that. Give me
7-0 win.
4 straight. Period. 4 straight. All 7-0.
Yeah,
buddy, I'll be on the moon.
Cold Performer of the Week is, I'm giving it to myself. I was in Montreal. I've always wanted to go to Montreal. It was one of those cities where I've always kind of been like, I'd love to spend some time there. It looks cool. And I was there and I saw literally nothing. Not one thing.
You took a picture of that building.
From a car as I was driving by it.
It counts. You saw it.
So I spent most of my first day in the same restaurant seat for about 6 hours as we were doing meetings. So I didn't see anything. So not exactly a great first trip to Montreal.
What?
All right. Positives now. Positives only. Rick, you're up first. Hot Performer of the Week.
Best on best hockey.
It's hard not to.
He's a hot
guy. For me, it's going to go to the Superb Owl halftime show. What a phenomenal show that was. And I'm not usually a guy that even enjoys or tunes in for the halftime show, but that's all I tuned in for this weekend.
It was fun.
Pour it on!
The halftime show was all
I
I
thought you
tuned in
said
for.
Super Owl.
Superb Owl.
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Got it.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, what owl? What
I was with you. I knew you were getting that.
I was watching Kendrick.
Kendrick Lamar's performance.
My hot performer of the week. I just had it.
Sorry, just because the real reason I want to give that is because just so people know, now that song will be up for an Emmy. So that song could win a Grammy and an Emmy next year. So just keep that in eye.
Yeah, honorary Cold Performer of the Week. Drake had a tough Sunday.
Drake's had a tough. When did this thing start? It's been a tough.
But then at the same point, he just released an album today, shot up to #1 immediately. So things aren't all bad for Drake.
Everyone's listening to it to try and find the diss track. He's got to find a way to get away from this whole situation.
Yeah, and the lawsuit thing.
You should sue more people. That's a good way to do
even
it.
to have Kendrick call out the suing in the halftime show, I'm like, oh man, you are dunking on him repeatedly. Serena comes out and crip walks. I'm like, holy hell.
Bonkers.
Everything in it.
Where was I? Oh yeah, Dan, hot performer of the week. Oh, you went
Super Bowl.
Liam, you're up.
So mine, I'll give mine to... I've been thinking about this long and hard. I've been watching rugby a lot recently, and it's been awesome. The Six Nations is back on, which is England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, France, and Italy. And this happens every, what would this be, fall, I guess? In
So
England?
not Canada, though.
Autumn. And it's fantastic. Tomorrow, England plays Scotland, 9:45 a.m.
Wow.
Feeling hot, hot, hot. Feeling
I feel like I had something else. I just can't remember what it was. So that was my secondary hot performer.
For me, hot performer of the week for Oodle Noodle was I've always wanted to go to the Bell Center, and that was one of the few things I did do in Montreal, and the atmosphere was electric. It is everything they kind of say it is, and it was a lot of fun to be on the right side in the building.
Except for those hot dogs.
Yeah, fuck the hot dogs.
This is why I'm hot. I'm hot because I'm fly. You ain't cause
Go get one if you want to overspend on a terrible hot dog you could make by yourself.
I only said that because you said it was everything that everybody told me to, but that one thing.
Yeah, like 7-year-old Baggedmilk can whip up the greatest hot dog in arena history, no problem.
And the Bell Center was like, we can do that too.
And we can way overcharge for it. All right, let's wrap up the podcast real quick. Canada, USA tomorrow. We're going to be at Greta. Score prediction, Liam.
Oh, I think it'll be 4-3 to Canada. Overtime.
Oh, man, that'd be intense, Dan.
5-4 Canada.
I was up by 5-2.
You're going to enjoy a nice 9-1 victory tomorrow. It's going to be a blowout. Everybody's going to enjoy it. We're having a great time. Bet the over. Have a great weekend, everybody.
What's up, Nation citizens? If you like that video, then you need to be subscribed to the Oilers Nation YouTube. Podcasts, live shows, exclusive interviews, and analysis. Everything you need from your favorite voices at Oilers Nation. And you don't want to miss any of it, so hammer that subscribe button.